Yo, let's go. I bet you weren't expecting this. Full HD, widescreen, Steven Retention, back at it. So, look, I had to take some time off. I feel like I was just kind of making some videos with no real kind of purpose. Um, we all have to go through a bit of like a dip, you know, we all go through tough times, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really tough times, to be honest. I just decided to reintegrate with the Matrix. I talked about that in actually a previous, one of my earlier videos, actually, one of my very first videos here on Student Retention. I was talking about that exact same thing. Um, but the thing is that I don't know. I think it gets to a point where you just like, I need to get back onto my thing. I need to get back into doing the things that I want to do. Um, I need to do a bit more pruning, need to do a bit of cleansing, clean the house, rearrange things, start a new season. I've actually changed my whole studio um, layout right now. The guitars are still on the wall, but things have been moved around and it feels good right now. It actually feels really good. So, today, on that note, I want to talk about rebranding and speaking your truth, because I think both are kind of related in a sense. So let's just take a look back at some iconic people that we know that have gone through a bit of a rebranding. um, I'll start off by mentioning probably the most controversial one, Donald Trump. Started off as a real estate kind of you know magnet or whatever, and then went into reality TV with The Apprentice, and then before you knew it, suddenly he was president of the United States twice. Um, and then the other thing that we've got is Michael Jackson. You know, Michael Jackson started off as just a standard kind of African American soul pop kind of funky singer, and he was part of the Jackson Five. It was really cool, but when he got into his like early 20s, he's like, I want to do this as Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's going to wear a glove. He's going to have these dance moves, and this is how he's going to speak. Blah blah blah. He had to go through a rebranding. He went through so many rebrandings up until the day that he died. And there's been a lot more other people that have gone through rebrandings. I could continue on, but my point is that I'm going through a bit of a rebranding myself. Um, there's certain things that I want to do on a aesthetic level, like I want to keep like a kind of clean cut kind of clean shave. I just had a shave, so there's probably even like hair on my t-shirt. I don't know, but I also like this kind of attire, this simple t-shirt, kind of classic jeans kind of look, just keeping it real fresh and simple. Um, and I'm growing out my hair as well, so it's a little bit wild, but it's also kind of like this is kind of just the this is kind of the growing pains, I guess, you have to go through of having kind of dorky hair for a bit, and then eventually it will grow longer and look a lot better. But the point is that rebranding is almost synonymous with being on your semen retention journey. If my guys are still on SR, I'd love to know what your streaks are. Let me know in the comments below. I'm a big fan of all of my supporters of Steven Retention. Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking around. Hello to the new people to the channel as well. Subscribe if you do like the content, by the way. But yeah, the whole point is that on semen retention, you are going to be going through a bit of a rebrand multiple times, depending on how long the streak is. I am currently starting to rebrand myself on my social media as well. I'm starting to express some aspects of my personality that maybe a lot of people weren't prepared to see. I know that a lot of people probably had an image in their mind as to what they wanted me to be, or to how I reacted and responded to them. I think they may now have that illusion shattered. And I'm not doing this to make people's lives harder. I'm doing this because it's important for me to actually be honest, speak from a place of authenticity, present myself from a place of authenticity, and move forward being the most authentic version of myself. Um, and, a lot of the time, people that you grew up with, went to high school, in your family, blah, 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 all those people that knew you as a different version of yourself before you rebrand, a lot of those kind of people will be like, "Oh, hey, dude, are you all right? I, like you might not want to do this because it will affect this and that." And it's just like, okay, thanks, bro. I'm kind of looking at your life right now and wondering why you're the person giving me advice. Like, let's be honest, guys. Um, Let me know if this has happened to you, but have you ever been in a position where someone in your life who isn't really on their purpose, like this guy, he wants to do some cool things with his filming, and wants to do some animation and all that kind of stuff, and I respect him as a mate. But the thing is that he's 1 year older than me, and he hasn't done one kind of creative thing that I know of, um, just on his own accord. I don't know what he's done. Yet I have continued to create since I was like 17 years old, well, 15 years old if you want to include demos. But I've been making music for half of my life and releasing music for half of my life, and, changing with styles, developing my new techniques, changing my sounds, becoming better as a singer, becoming more diverse as a singer, as a songwriter as well. All these things are being reflected in the music that I release. And naturally, as a musician, I'm rebranding myself with every single release, because every release is a different frequency, it's a different timeline, it's a different period of my life. So, maybe you are, let's say you're a personal trainer, and you have a current routine that you put all your clients through depending on their height and their weight and their age and stuff, and you've got all these routines set up for them. But then one day you're like, I'm going to burn all those routines. I'm going to start something fresh because I think I've got a better idea as to what's going to work, what is actually more in touch with me, and what is more authentic for me as a trainer to present to my clients, and I think will benefit them as well. Now, here's one thing about a rebranding is that you're always going to have a pushback. What is a pushback? A pushback is when something new comes in and then people push it back. They're like, no, 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 we don't want it to happen. And then eventually, change ensues, as it always does. The only thing that is constant in life is change, and rebrand is change. So one thing you got to be prepared for is that you're going to get a lot of pushback. And my mate that I'm talking about, this guy that does the animation and film, doesn't do it. He wants to do it. He said to me the other day, he wants to do it when he's about 40 years old. So in 10 years' time, I'm like, wait, so you're going to wait until you're pretty much like, I don't know, your best, I won't say your best years are over because a lot of good things can happen. But like, as far as having your most amount of energy goes, I would say when you're 40, that's when it starts to dip down. But like, anyway, I don't know. I don't care. It's not my problem. But at the end of the day, the whole thing is this whole idea of like, rebranding yourself and being more authentic and changing and speaking your truth that is resonant with who you are right now. There's always going to be people that are like, don't think you should do that, bro. I don't think you should aim to do that. I don't think that's going to be good for your mental health. I don't think it's really, no, you should do this. It's like all these people are backseat drivers, guys. A backseat driver is someone that sits in the backseat of the car and directs you as to where you should drive. But the thing is that they don't have any direction themselves. They don't even have a car license, most of these people. So I guess the whole point here, guys, is make sure that you understand that these might be old friends and stuff like that, but part of your rebrand sometimes might even mean you're just going to have to let them go. You're just going to have to, not really associate with that part of your life anymore. Like sometimes you're just going to have to grab your high school, clothes and put them in a pile and burn them in your backyard. That's literally what a person told me they did. As soon as they graduated high school, they burned all their high school clothes. I thought that was pretty dramatic at the time, but now that I think about it, I think they were onto something. So, speaking your truth, rebranding, all these things tied into semen retention, because eventually the truth rises up so much that you can't help but express it through your throat chakra. Jesus also said, I am the way, I am the truth. We have a lot of religious, texts and esoteric kind of principles that talk about the importance of expressing yourself on a physiological level. You can hear when people are, talking a lot of shit versus talking truth. When you are resonant and your frequencies are aligned in a way that is, truthful, authentic, natural, organic, you can even just make a sound with your throat. And these people who are yapping a lot of shit, they're going to be starting to feel a bit of a tight throat. They're going to be like, I notice this all the time, guys. I'm not kidding you. I'll be at I go to the sauna at the moment, and people are just yapping in the sauna, and then I just go like, and then suddenly they like, it's like I'm almost like Darth Vader doing like forced choke on them, but like, I'm serious, guys. But anyway, that's probably a little bit too woo-woo for y'all to really get into, but I'll be curious to know if anyone else has had any similar experiences. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for today. Please like this video if you made it to the end. It helps me find new people like yourself on the channel. Let me know if you vibe with this, with any comments. I want to know what your streaks are at. I want to know what your truth is. I want to, just get some insight as to how my subscribers are going. As I said, guys, in previous videos, you can email me at stevenretention@gmail.com. We can have a chat. I call subscribers. I don't charge anything. I'm not at the stage of charging people. So I just want to get to know you and all that kind of stuff. We can have a chat on the phone, talk about music if you want. But yeah, keep being authentic. Understand that sometimes a rebrand, a bit of a shuffle up is good, really good for you. But with that all being said, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace, guys.